Right, so now it's about making a glug that I can fish using. Freezer's nearly empty, guys, now. So it's going to be a glug about using pretty much this, which I showed you this other day, and it's without a doubt probably the best bait I've made by far. It's krill belachan, which I'm getting cheaper now than I will get now. CC more, but I'm getting cheaper now. So we've got a few lumps in there that's just all that is it's just where it's frozen, so it'll come apart. So there's a few old baits in there, but most of that is crumb and flake. I'm a great believer in flake after this year's success. This year has just been an eye-opener for me on it. It gets caught up in weed, and it kind of forms like a Christmas. It kind of forms like a Christmas tree effect. Is once it goes through the weed, it hangs in the weed, so it kind of causes like a Christmas tree effect, where a bit like baubles on a Christmas tree. So this is what's in it. Now measurements are key. Too much, and it will just, it'll be a carp deterrent, not a carp attraction. So, but I am doing this, and I'm also going to be doing it in 5 litre tubs, but it ain't going to be cheap because of the amount of stuff that's in it. There's still CC more stuff in it, because some of the stuff that CC more do, in my opinion, is probably the best additives, along with RG baits. Now RG baits insect blend, I'm going to be doing a lot with that over next year, beginning of next year, March time. But only if I can get some kind of deal with them, because I'm going to be buying a fair amount of it. Now if not, I've got several other companies that are offering me a similar type of food source but cheaper, so we will see with that. So I'll take you over to what I want to do now to make this. So we're going to go to, hang on 1 second, guys. I'll ask you in the middle area. I just want to show you this. So this is the blend that I will be fishing, which there's all baits in there which will be getting used on the hook. Now they're perfect. They're probably 12mm in size, with a little bit bigger, but there's not that many bigger, but I think that maybe a 16mm, which with a side topper, like a yellow pop-up, just trim down, whip that top off so it's flush, and a nice little side topper on top. It doesn't have to be yellow, it can be of your choice, it could be orange, it could be fucking blue, green, doesn't make a difference. But that is definitely, without a doubt, deadly, and I don't care what anyone says. If you fish for barbel, get on it, because it's doing really well on match scene at the minute. I've got a guy that's fishing matches at the minute. Sorry, hang on 1 second. I've got a guy at the minute, and he's fishing match scene, and all he's doing is he's feeding this. And I've also got another one which is in the freezer, but I'll not get that out. All it is it's put in the blender for longer, and it's formed a crumb, pretty much a ground bait. Now in with that, I've added powdered shrimp, which powdered shrimp will be getting added to this. So just hang on 1 second with that. So what we're gonna go with now is, we're gonna go with, I've now got to deal with these as well. Yeah, a little bit cheaper. Shouldn't it be cheaper? So I just pass that on to you. But during winter, it's all about glugs. Now fishing's all about glugs. I will happily spot a glug out with no free food. Now that, I don't know if you can see that, but that is pretty much It's hard to see. It's really hard to see. The light's not great either. That is pretty much dried krill, and it's sun dried. It's beautiful. So that will be getting added as well in. So we just put a fair old amount of that in because we want it pretty sticky, but it's expensive stuff. It's expensive stuff, this one. So we always make the bags are sealed because it stinks. It really does stink to the point that I'll have to just go mallet after doing it. But what's more important, I mean, it's either divorce or my blanket clear water or she has to go with me for a few hours, and then after a few hours she forgets about it, so it's well worth it. I mean, divorce or catch fish, it's not an hard one. Fish everything. Yeah? So now we're going to be fishing one of them over the top of this soup, which will be krill all over the land, which will spotted in a kind of oil liquid, but it's already got preservative in there. Now this is another thing that I'm going to be doing. It's going to come in a bottle. It ain't going to be this size unless you want that size, but it's going to cost you more, and it's going to cost you more than sticky baits one as well, because there's far more going on in it than just a little bit and a little handful of krill, and then a load of molasses and stuff like that, just to bulk it out and make it look more special. But and a little bit of krill, perhaps ground bait in there to thicken it up a little bit. Well, this is thickened up with actual krill. It's also got bloodworm in there. You've just seen me, I don't know if you saw me earlier on, but I poured some bloodworm in there, a fair amount of bloodworm. So the only way of getting around this now is, I mean, this is an oil. But the only way of getting around this now is to add a little bit of water to form a paste. And once that paste is sorted, then we add a bit of oil to it, and then we bain marie it, which is a pan over the boiling water until it loosens up, and we slowly add this stuff until it becomes an oil, and then we pour it in here. Now on the day, I will be totally glugging this stuff will be covered in it, but it will be done the night before I get down there. So it gives it a chance to all soak in. The boilers become softer. There's their SBK, which is shrimp, belachan and krill, and there's an SBK1, SBK2, SBK3. Now by that there's been a bit of confusion, but what I mean by that is the SBK1 has had a 3-minute boil, which means that they're far harder. So they're more tolerant to roach, bream and tench, because they're doing harder bait. Once they're air dried doing harder bait, they're more resistant to smaller fish. The SK2 SK2 is being done for 2 minutes, which has given me a slightly softer bait, but to the point that, sorry love it, let's just lock that. Sorry, it's fucking silly to answer. It gives me a slightly softer bait, which it will take. The SK2 takes on average 12 hours to break down. Now if you haven't had a bite in 12 hours reeling, because something's wrong. If you ain't had a bite in 12 hours, you're not fishing on right ground, or you're fishing a really low stocked pit with very little fishing. So it's worth reeling in during non-bite time. I would never reel in. So if you're having takes at 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock in the morning, to 12 o'clock dinner time, then reeling at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, change that hook bait over. You will find that it is still in its same size form, 12mm, but it will be softer, which I love. I love it about it. The texture on this bait is just incredible. So it's well worth looking into that. So you have to let me know which one you want. And then the SK3 has had a 1 minute boil, which means it's pretty much hardened outer casing, perhaps a millimetre of harder outer casing. The inside is paste. But yet again, excellent bait, and definitely a bait that I prefer out of all of them. It's a stunning bait. So we'll get back to this now then, because that's the mix I'm taking. That's 2 kilo, by the way. So I just want to get that across to you as well. That is 2 kilo a bait. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched carp before, but a 20-pound carp will make... You will be amazed at the speed a 20-pound carp clears that out on its own. No help from its friends, no help from its little buddies it swims around with. It will more than likely force them out of the area. And then again, I've got a funny feeling the catfish will pick up on it also, for the simple reason of this. I've rolled a tuna bait called a red hot tuna that I've got out there testing at the minute. I need to do some more because I've got a guy testing it for me, and he's only used it twice, and he's had great results on a low stock, massive gravel pit. So he's only used it once as well, and he had a nice dog coming out of it. Now, he ain't learned how to insert pictures on this yet. It's all new to me, this. I'm not great at internet. So I will try and insert them at some point. But the thing is this has that in it as well. This has the tuna in it as well. I'm a great believer on carp love tuna. In the natural flake form, I used to fish it in PVA stick soaked in oil. In summer, soaked in oil, tuna, in its natural form in tuna oil. PVA stick, cast that out with a nice bottom bait on a wafter, and boom, where I always caught. So now these baits are not the krill, belachan and shrimp one, but the red hot tuna one contains tuna flakes. And it's a really, really nice bait. There's a decent amounts of salt in this because of the shrimp and the shrimp paste, which is naturally salty. As the preservatives, I don't want to be using preservatives unless it's really necessary. I would much rather use salt, which in winter I can't really be using a lot of salt, so I'm having to use a preservative to preserve the bait. So the next step with this glug is this. Right then. So what we do now is we can get this out of the way now, because I ain't glugging it up until the night before we got 8 stinks, by the way. The fucking kitchen reach, you wouldn't believe it. It ain't a bait that you want laying around, and it's also a bait that you're going to struggle if you put it in a nut. Don't think, oh, I'll put it in up to it'll be fine, because it will not be fine in a nut whatsoever. It's the rats will get at it, so you need to make some kind of trick up to stop the rats getting at it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to boil the kettle. We're also going to add some oil to that, because we want that oil in there, so when the fish come in, we want the fish, once they're marinated into that bait, we want a slick coming up. And it's the way of telling if a fish is on your bait, you're going to get a slick. Right, this is a sea salt just broke down into a powder form. I won't go using normal Saxo salt or anything like that. I also like pepper. It's just my own thing. I have a lot of pepper in my baits. I do like pepper, and I also use a lot of chili as well. So I do like pepper. It's that little bit of spice, and not only that, I like to preservatives as well. So we get that back in cupboard, and then what we go to then is we go to chili flakes. Now we add a fair bit of chili flake into that. And then we add boiling water. Now the boiling water will soak into the... Oh, that smells bad. well, it smells nice to a carp, but it smells bad. So we go with that. Yeah, hang on, I'm still recording here.